Hi, in this video we're looking at different management approaches in business. So there's really three different management styles, being the classical approach, the behavioral approach, and the contingency approach. So the classical approach to management really is based on the notion of there's really only one best way to do a job. Okay, really. Now it's very popular in assembly lines, and it's really easy to implement. Uh, So in assembly lines, product will run from one part of a factory to another. At certain stages, someone will do something different to it, and eventually, people then became specialized in their own role. So it was very straightforward. People knew what they had to do and they did it. And it's based on the really three functions by Henry Fayol, which is planning, so the process of setting goals, so strategic goals, tactical goals, and operational goals, and then deciding on the methods to achieve them. We've got organizing as a function, so the process of arranging the resources of the business to achieve the goals in order to maximize productivity and efficiency as well. And then controlling, so evaluating, modifying tasks to ensure that the set goals are being achieved, and then changing the processes and procedures if those goals are not being achieved. Then we've also got within the classical approach as well, we've got control methods. So quality control, which is a system of controlling a product for quality really at the end of the production process. So for example, a loaf of bread might need to be X amount of centimeters big. By the time it gets to the end, they see if it meets that criteria, they keep it. If it doesn't, they discard it. With quality assurance, it's really a system that's in place to ensure quality throughout. So, for example, that with that loaf of bread, they may have systems in place where at the start they make sure that everything is the right size. About a quarter of the way in, they check it. Another, quarter of the way in, they check it again. By the end, they check it again. People go through training to make sure they know what they're looking for. So it's really a whole system of making sure that it's a quality product. And then we've got total quality management, or TQM, which is a whole business approach to excellence. Training of staff, the culture that they have in the business, the way the leadership acts as well, really ensuring that excellence and quality is something that the business strives for every single day, regardless of their products, regardless of where they are in the business in terms of their role, and regardless of the kinds of products they make as well. Now we've got hierarchies and a leadership style uh, in the classical approach as well. Now it follows a very strict pyramid-shaped structure, as you can see on the right there. And what this does is it leads to a very strict line of authority from the top of a business to the bottom. So, and this is called the chain of command. Now, because the classical or the classical scientific theory argues for a long chain of command, as you can see from the CEO to the next level to the next level to all the way from top to VP to 1, 2, 3, 4. There is also a minimal span of control. So one person might only really control one or two people. The next person controls two or three people, and so forth. And the classical scientific approach employs an autocratic leadership style. So very dictatorial, very this is what I say, this is how you do it. If you don't like it, well then there might be some problems. The different approach to the classical approach is the behavioral approach. Now, this stresses that people should be the main focus of the way in which a business should be organized. A gentleman named Elton Mayo, he was very influential in developing this theory, and he conducted some research, and he came up with two significant results. One was that worker satisfaction, to a large extent, is non-economic. So that is, people have social needs as opposed to just monetary needs. And the second one was being part of a team, being made to feel part of a team increases job satisfaction and output. Now, there's three functions here as well. So, leading. So, to act as a leader, a manager should really display empathy and good listening skills. Focus on what the employees need. There's the function of motivating. So motivated employees will always perform at a higher level than unmotivated employees. Um, and that can be linked to the policies and practices, things like work-life balance, things like the way they're treated as well. And then we've got the communicating function. So effective communication is really at the heart of meeting challenges. If people know what's going on, if they're kept in the loop, then they're more likely to be more productive because they know their role in the business. They know what they're doing. They know what they're all trying to achieve. Now, the hierarchy and leadership style for the behavioral approach is going to be different to the hierarchy and leadership style in the classical approach. Now, this follows a much flatter pyramid-shaped structure, which you can see at the bottom there, which then has a much wider span of control. So one person is in charge of a team of a number of people, and the leadership style here really employs a participative or a democratic leadership style, really listening to what everyone has to say. Now, there are some downfalls to this. Whereas in the classical approach, it's really this is what I say. If you don't like it, too bad. It means that things work a lot more efficiently, a lot more smoothly. With the behavioral approach and a democratic leadership style, it takes time to listen to everybody's input. If you're working on a tight deadline and you need to listen to the voices of 30, 40, 50, or 100 employees in terms of what they want to do, it might mean that it's going to be a much more lengthier process. Now, is there a middle ground here? Well, sort of. So the contingency approach to management is uh, really stressing the need to be flexible in order to suit changing circumstances. So let's take, for example, you're an employer in an office with 10 staff, and you operate a classical approach, which is very dictatorial. You're in charge. You say this is what you need to do it. Then winter comes along and the flu hits, and you've lost all but two staff members. You might not be able then to operate in a classical approach where you say you do this, you do that, that's your only job. You might then need to move into that behavioral approach where it's a team effort. People are doing a number of things. You're listening to what they need and what they want. You're working with them a lot more collaboratively rather than just saying this is what you need to do. So it's really to be flexible in order to suit changing circumstances. Well, I hope that this brief introduction to management approaches has given you enough information to gather some sort of understanding into how it works. Thank you.